Hi, this is Miguel Shodell from Crown Head Cigars, and you're listening to the Leaf and Ash Podcast.
Nice. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another Leaf and Ash podcast episode. As you guys can see, we have a special guest this evening, guys. But before we get to him, I want to introduce my compadres. As always, guys, on the top left, we got the Cigar Don. What's going on, Cigar Don?
What's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday.
All my life, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Yeah, exactly. On the top right, no other than PC Silverback. What's going on, boy?
Man, what's happening with you fellas?
It's hump
Good day
day.
too.
It is hump day.
Yes, sir.
At the bottom right, guys, as always, the one finger pecker sensation, JJ, aka Cigar Mo. What's going on, Mutt?
Hey, how the you doing?
And now, ladies and gentlemen, our guest of honor, Derek Mathews from Black Label Trading Company. Derek, welcome to the show, buddy. Welcome.
Thanks, fellas. Thanks for having me on. Happy to be here.
Oh, we are so happy that you're here. We truly appreciate you taking the time to spend with us. You know, I know time is precious, so we're going to get right into it, okay?
Yeah, man, let's go.
Let's do it. So you guys, the Black Label, you guys started back in 2013. Is that correct?
That's right. Black Label was founded in 2013 and Blackwork Studio, the line extension, in 2015.
Nice. Okay. Now, you guys started in the area, and I hate to kind of start in this mode, but I kind of want to build up to where you're at today. I mean, you guys started pretty much at the height back then with all the nonsense that's going on in regards to the FDA trying to get involved. And, you know, like I said, I kind of want to build up to where you are now. But before you got to where you are today, there was these trials and tribulations that you started with right off Jump Street starting in 2013. How did you guys accomplish, or how did you guys get over that hill right off Jump Street?
Yeah, well, I mean, our first challenge wasn't really FDA so much, although it was pretty early on. Our first challenge was when we started, we didn't have our own factory. So we were being made by somebody else. It's somebody else's factory, and that's great when you're brand new because you're kind of the hot new kid on the block until another Johnny-come-lately comes along, and then your stuff sort of, you know, doesn't become as much of the focus of the people because they don't have the same interest in your product doing well as you do. So we had to make a decision pretty quickly about whether or not, you know, was it going to give up the ghost or was it we going to do our own factory? And so that's why the factory was opened in 2015, which was called Fábrica Oveja Negra, or Factory of the Black Sheep, which was also, as I mentioned, gave rise to the same time when Blackwork Studio started. So that was really our first challenge, which was not a small one. But to go more direct to your question, as the challenges kept coming and FDA deeming regulations started looming, and where were things going to go? Could we come out with new products? How do we register existing products? My partners and I are just very patient people. We don't really panic under pressure. We're not really ones to sit and watch others, although we do pay attention. We're more, let's sit back and take our time and think about this and kind of, let's try to see if we can't get a 30-mile view of this instead of a 3-inch view. You know what I mean? So we set it out and watched. We continued to do some new products until, you know, knowing that if the FDA hammer had come down, we would have to let those products go. But it was a strategy that really worked out well for us.
Nice. I mean, and obviously you guys were able to conquer that and move forward, because I know there was a big movement and shipment, a lot of litigations, a lot of people protesting, etc. You know, when you guys started moving forward now to your own factories, right? Because now the whole entire process and the game changes tremendously, right? Because now you guys are planting the seed, you guys are doing the fermentation, you guys are doing the whole thing from A to Z. You know, when you guys started coming up with your blends, do you guys have a vision for your blends first, or do you necessarily have like the blend that you kind of want, that kind of matches the blend that you have in your head? How does that come about?
Well, so I think to answer that, I should kind of define the roles of our company and who we are. So the founder of the company and kind of the face of the company is my partner, James Brown. And, he's a trained sommelier. He's been a professional artist, a very talented guy. And kind of blending is his forte, along with our factory manager, a Nicaraguan guy, Armando Leyva, who's been down there forever. So with James's background and training in wines and things, he has a very refined palate. So I've asked him that question before. Some of the name, do you get the concept and blend toward it, or do you have a blend and then you name toward where that takes you? And it's really just whatever the inspiration. There's a little bit of both. Sometimes he's had it where he wants to work with certain tobaccos, and then whatever the cigar has become will inspire him to, turn on his creative juices with naming and branding. And then other times he's got a really cool concept, and he thinks about, well, how can I translate this to tobacco? And then help him sort through what tobaccos and how to use them. As far as the factory and things like that go, I will say, we're not farmers, but whereas when we had the factory, we were starting to buy, finished tobacco. But now we've expanded the factory a few times, so we've become more and more. We're not completely vertically integrated because we don't have farms. I don't think we'll ever become farmers. It's just not our area of expertise. But we have been able to grow the factory to the degree that we can buy raw tobacco and do the fermenting ourselves, which is better for quality control. You get, better time is money, so you get better pricing when you're buying raw material instead of finished material, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And which brings me to my next question, because I was going to ask you, because one thing that I truly admire that you guys do, that to me I think is a little underrated, and I think people in the industry are starting to pick up on it, is the branding of your labeling. I'm a big believer that as an enthusiast, a consumer, we shop with our eyes. You know what I mean? And your brand honestly sticks out big time, which to me is a great marketing tool.
Thank you. I think you have to, we all agree, you have to have you want the moth to come to the flame. So, yes. Some of the marketing I know was based back when James was shopping in a cigar shop, for example, and nothing spoke to him. Not to say anything bad about any other brands or labeling or marketing, but there wasn't anything that was really speaking to him as a consumer. And I actually found out about Black. I was working retail, cigar retail. We brought the line in. I joined the company in 2016. So we were one of the early adopters of the brand, which all of these things appealed to me. I loved the way the look was. I loved that they were local from Texas. I loved that, we brought in the lines, and I smoked the cigars, and the quality of the tobacco and the blending and the flavor profiles were there. Once I lit up, and I still feel this way today. I still love our branding, but once I put fire to the leaf, all that goes out the window for me. I'm focused on the flavor and what am I smoking, which is really what you want. You just want to get the cigar in somebody's hand to try it.
Absolutely. And like I said, the marketing aspect of it, like I said, I think people are starting to finally catch up with that, you know what I mean, in regards to that. And I think that the labels have been so underrated for so long, you know what I mean, that people have ignored it, and now people are playing catch up on it, And you say you joined it in 2016. How did you guys all meet? How did you end up meeting James?
Yeah, so, they had started the company in 2013. At that time, I was working in a shop. And like I said, we were an early adopter. About a year, maybe not a full year, but they decided to do an event at our store. And, I'm a, CRT, certified retail tobacconist. So, and I'm a pretty social person. And they liked the way I think that I sold in the store and my passion about the product. And we kind of struck up an organic friendship that did not have any of this in mind at that time. So, it took 3 years for me to from meeting them to joining the company. So it wasn't like an overnight thing that just happened. I think what had happened was things were getting together with the factory. The blending was there. The artwork was there. We needed a little bit of help, I think, on the U.S. side. And so the group came to me, the ownership group, and made a proposition. We negotiated a few things, came to an agreement, and the rest is history.
Nice. I mean, and it goes to show you about the nature, the regular nature of this industry as a whole, right? Because the camaraderie that you built, the friendships that you built. Now you're looking at 4 individuals that you couldn't ask for 4 different individuals. I'm originally from New York, in South Florida now. You got Don that's in Texas. You got PC who's in Georgia, and then you got JJ from Oklahoma. You know what I mean? So, and we all end up meeting on social media. You know what I mean? And everything brought us all because of this. And I absolutely love this industry. I absolutely love the camaraderie that it builds. Because think about it. Name another industry that could bring 2 people from opposite worlds. Yeah. Right, and put them in the same room and actually have something in common to speak about.
No, it's very true. It's an adage that I think, fortunately, most cigar smokers realize it and respect it, even if we don't see things eye to eye. For the most part, I mean, you get your bickering a little bit in the online groups because you're online, but most people are super cool. And I like that the technology has allowed us to come to do this. But in my role now, I like even better. I travel all around, and with the exception of, it's been a while since I've been up to New York, New Jersey, maybe 2 years. But obviously I'm in Texas. I was in Georgia last month. Oklahoma is, it'd take me 2.5 hours, 3 hours to get up there. So, I like getting out. It's cool to meet people online and hear them and talk to them online. And then when you're in their area, you're like, hey, man, I'm over here in Oklahoma City or Stillwater or whatever. Where are you at? Can you meet me? And usually cigar smokers, I'm not going to say they're going to drive 4 hours to meet somebody, but it's sort of like the community is tight enough that with somebody's usually within an hour, hour and a half, they'll make the drive even if they haven't even met you. And they'll bring you a special cigar. And you've got a friend, right there.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Listen, you end up building a loyal following,
Absolutely.
You actually, I mean, it's insane because it's like, I've gone places to go see, Espinosa, also go see, Perdomo or whatever, these other guys. But to me, I have been on this man. Would you guys consider yourself still boutique at this point?
It's hard because in some ways, well, a lot of people have talked about this. In other industries, there are actual definitions of what a craft brewer is. It's so many barrels defines what makes you craft and not. And in cigars, we don't really have that. We definitely have maintained a boutique attitude. It's still just the 4 of us. We have our team of reps that are great, but it's the 4 of us that have been running the company from day one. So in that way, look, when there's a broken box somewhere and the rep can't, let's say the problem gets somehow a little bigger, there is no middle management to go deal with that. As an owner, and I'm dealing with that, and so on and so forth. When there's a problem at the factory, Angela's dealing with that, or if there's an issue with the blend or something, James has to address that. So I think that in many ways we are still boutique. We are fortunate and blessed to have grown. We want to grow. It is our stated goal to grow. We're not just trying to be in only the small nerdy shops. We want to be in the small nerdy shops. We feel like we deserve to be there. We have the cachet, we have the history, we have the professional experience there as well, and can speak to those clients. Where we really want to be, whether it's big or small, is where shops are behind the brand. There's some stores, I call them spaghetti stores. The old adage about throw the spaghetti into the wall and see if it sticks. I don't like spaghetti stores. If you just put my product anywhere and you don't get behind it, don't learn anything about it, it's just going to sit there. And maybe the moth comes to the flame because of the artwork, but this is a partnership. You invested money, or if you're an employee at a cigar shop, your boss has invested money to bring my product in. You need to talk to the people about it. And there may be some people watching this right now who've seen me or met me before in person that have heard me say this before, but it's kind of true. It's the analogy I always go back to. If you're going up the road with, your wife somewhere on a road trip and she's going to pump the gas, you say, I'm going to go inside and, get a few things. You need anything? And she says, give me a Jones soda. Well, you got to look for that.
Right.
Right.
If she says, "Give me a Coke," you ain't got to look for that.
Right.
So that Coke is not boutique anymore. Jones Soda, it could be argued, is boutique. And so I think we're somewhere, trying to get from the Jones Soda to the RC, and then from the RC to the Dr. Pepper. But I think for us, because we have the factory, the main focus for us is always the quality of the cigars. That's what makes us boutique in our approach to that, I think. So I still say we're in that. Those are the fields we play in.
We've spoken to some people kind of get offended by the word boutique or craft, and to me, I think this, in my opinion, I think there's some pride in these boutique people like yourself, because legacy and all this other stuff. We've spoke about this in the past, that those guys are never going to change the way they do things, right? And they will always have their followers. What I honestly respect about people like yourselves and people that are in that mindset is that, one, you're willing to experiment, right, and try something different that's outside the box. And as an enthusiast, I've been smoking for 30 years, and I absolutely love trying new things, something that will blow me away, to say, "Man, I've never tried this. I've never had this before. Who the heck is this company?" I started smoking your brand probably about 3-4 years ago. Okay, I absolutely love the Last Rites. I love the Lawless I'm smoking now. What I love about this is the Ecuadorian Habano Rosado. It is the most sexiest wrapper you could find. I don't care what anybody says. This wrapper is so beautiful, and it looks velvety. It looks silky. It's one of those cigars that I love. And mind you, you're looking at 4 people that absolutely love cigars that punch you in the mouth, right? Because you get the pepper, you get the spice, you get some cocoa, some woodness. You know what I mean? Yeah. But this is the type of cigar that I absolutely love, and this is what I love about you guys and your brand, because it truly fits my palate to the T.
Well, thank you. I mean, thank you.
Yeah, and I'll tell you another thing. To me, the word boutique, to me, I think the definition, in my opinion, has changed, because I think that, okay, we know the numbers, right? People talk about the numbers. You sell 1 million, etc., whatever the number is. But to me, I think that if enough people know who you are you really boutique?
That's a good question, and it's something I faced at. Like I was telling Don earlier about the Texas Cigar Festival this weekend. Used to be I would go to those festivals, multi-vendors, and 70% of the people who came to the table throughout the day, I was like, "Hey, welcome to the table. What's your name? I'm Derek. Nice to meet you. Hey, have you heard of our stuff before?" No, I never heard of this. What is this? Tell me about this. Which is cool that they came to the table and they want to learn, but I almost got to the point where, we're Black Label Trading Company. We were founded in this year. We have a factory in Escalade, Nicaragua. You could have hit play and stop, like if I had the buttons, like in a truck, like just like the routine. But as time has gone by, you do that. You appreciate every single person who comes to the table, whether they buy from you or not. Anybody who's interested in learning or hearing about our brand, I'm going to put the time in. So as the years have gone by, just by doing that ratio has totally flipped. Now, like when the doors open, people come to the booth and I'm like, "Have you heard of our stuff?" They're like, "Yeah, that's why I came here first. I want to get the stuff before anybody else, And then like maybe 30% of the people are like, "No, what is this?" So I'm over time you see the shift. You get some recognition. Hopefully it's organic. Which I think for us, we've been blessed. Our growth has been very organic. So we're trying really hard to do things the right way. I got to say this. One thing you mentioned about the old school brands. I respect them. I love them. Obviously, there's a place in the market for what they do. But it's not just about being authentic, which it is about being authentic, but there's more to it. It's about having to be authentic. I call it guerrilla learning. You don't know what you don't know, so you got to go fight the guerrilla warfare to figure this stuff out. I've learned so much in this role. I didn't go to school to be I didn't major in business, Right. So you fight, scrap, and claw to learn what you learn, and that makes you authentic because it's your experience.
Right. I could keep on asking you 1,000,001 question. You know what? Because I'm so fascinated with you guys. I really am. I love the marketing. I love what you guys stand for. I love your trademark. I mean, I love everything about you guys. And it's one of those things that there's certain people that I know that I socialize with in my club that they're very much all into certain and pretty much legacies, right? And it gets me a little frustrated because it's like I tell them all the time, you have no idea what you guys are missing out on. You have no clue what you guys are missing out on. No. Because, mind you, I'm these guys can tell you, I have my favorites and stuff like that. But as an enthusiast, I love companies like you guys because you guys are willing to take that gamble and roll the dice, right? And hopes that people like myself that love that cigar that punches you in the mouth, right? And to me, listen, punch me as hard as you can and knock me the hell out because that's who I am, because I'm that guy that you hit me once, hit me twice, I'm still getting my ass up because I'm that kind of, a little toasted in the head. But go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, I just think it's also like, when we put this thing together, in the beginning when I joined, it felt weird to me to introduce myself. I didn't mind saying I'm national sales manager, but my team wanted me to also introduce myself. Tell them you're an owner. And at first I was like, that seems weird. That sounds, I'm not, it seems like a weird thing to say at the beginning of, something. But then I realized pretty quickly when working with retailers, they need to know I'm an owner because they need to know I have more than just a little skin in the game. They need to know that, like, I'm not here to do this and then next week work for another company and next week work for another company. If this doesn't work, I got to sell that truck and I don't eat. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
it is.
So
it
has to work. It has to work. There is no alternative.
Well, but this is also the truth of it, right? Because you have skin in the game, you're going to put your blood, sweat, and tears in it. And the thing is this, not a lot of people get to meet owners of the actual brand itself. You know, and to me, I think that there is a sense of humbleness that needs to come with that, right? Even if you guys really extremely blow up, I hope that you guys maintain the same and don't change because I've seen, people end up exploding in their brand and all of a sudden they become a different person. And to me, it's like I can never understand that concept, you know what I mean, or reasoning why they would do that, but that's just me.
Well, that couldn't happen for me because my dad's still alive and he would still whip my ass. He told me one time when I was a kid, he said, right now you're not big enough and strong enough to beat me up. And when you are, you won't want to. And he was right. So I'll extrapolate that to what we're talking about is when my old man's gone, if I were to ever do that, I'd have to kick my own ass.
I know the feeling, brother.
My dad always told me, you might be bigger than me, you might be stronger than me, and you might be softer than me, but you'll never be stronger than me.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm going to pass the mic to Mr. PC Silverback, buddy. Here you go.
Being a regional sales manager, right? How difficult is it to get your sticks into certain markets and stuff like that? Because I'll give you an example. One of the largest cigar stores here, possibly in Georgia. Trust me, because I've been in a lot of places here. And I went in looking for some of your sticks. I've smoked them before. And this is a guy that I've spent crazy kind of money with over the years. And I just happened to, hey, Sal, do you have this stick, this stick? He's like, I never heard of it. I'm like, wait a minute. You never heard of this company, this, and this? He was like, and I showed him the picture. He said, oh, that's a boutique cigar. I was like, yeah, but they're popular though. How have you never heard it? And he's very well versed. So how hard is it to get in those markets where you have those, I guess you can call him a spaghetti store that, that sticks to the mainframe of the cigar industry?
Mr. Silverback, thank you for that question. That is perfect because for us, it's, there are a lot of markets. Every market is different. And I'm not just regional, I'm national. I got to cover the whole United States. I have a team of 10 reps all across the country. And some shops, they're just kind of stuck in their old ways, and that if it works for them, I suppose I'm not going to say it's not fine because it's their business. I don't believe that's the way you keep a business alive long term. I think it's important to keep up with your industry and what's going on. And I think that when, speaking to what I was saying earlier about the table, 70% didn't hear, and now the ratio is flipped. I used to feel like I really had to put that work in, and I still, because I'm dedicated to the job, still feel that I have to put the work in for that sake. But I will say this, and I don't mean to come across the wrong way. I feel like now, if you're a cigar person, if you haven't heard of Black Label Trading Company, you're not paying attention.
Right.
We've passed the part, like I'm not saying we're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Okay, I think we're pretty great. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't. But I do think that we have earned the right to be known amongst the discerning cigar smoking person. And so, go ahead.
No, what I'm looking at, especially Georgia is a special place about like Florida or Texas or somewhere like that. And for Georgia not to be, in my opinion, only receptive to other cigars coming into their industry and sticking to the boutique, I mean, not the boutiques, but the legacies. How do you deal with that when you got that wall up already?
Well, we do a couple of things. One is, like, for example, down in the Southeast, we have a representative that is new to us as of January. And I tell that guy, just keep going to the store. Don't annoy the guy, but let him keep seeing your face.
Mm-hmm.
Half the time, maybe more than half the time, eventually the shop owner will be like, oh, all right, I'm going to buy some from this guy and then we get him to go in, we get the rep to go in and either do a cut and light or an event and get the cigar in your hands. Now that shop smokers are like, oh my God, I never heard of this. I never would have picked it up, or I never tried it. Or if we're lucky, he's got 2 or 3 people who are like, oh man, thank God he finally brought this in, and it turns the other smokers on. That's one way. Another way, which is not, it's just business, is like if one guy is refusing to bring your stuff in, sell it to the other people around him. Because then more and more people are going to be coming to him. How come you don't have this? Why can't I find this at why can't I get Dr. Pepper in this store, but I can get it everywhere else? This store is closest to my house. I want a Dr. Pepper, and I can't find it.
Right.
And that guy's going to be like, damn, I'm missing out on Dr. Pepper money right now.
Yeah, and I feel like they're not listening to the consumers. And like I said, I spent a lot of money at this guy's shop, and I'm like, dude, I come in here asking for a different cigar because with my 3 compadres here, they introduced me to different sticks. And now I've heard, even when they introduced me to your stick, I've heard of your company.
I don't, like I said, I don't necessarily agree with the way every retailer runs their business, and that's okay. But I'll say this, whoever that person is, I want them to do well, because even if they don't carry my product, I want them to do well, because the more cigar shops that are succeeding, the better for our industry, even if you don't have my brand on your shelf.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
so I think that having a good rep team is really important to somebody who's personable, who can come in and has the time to sit down and smoke with you and your people, somebody who can sit down and talk to would build a relationship with the store. Oh, there's that guy again, the guy with the tattoos and the beard, It's like, okay, he's back again. Let's give the guy, he seems pretty cool. Let's give him a shot. You break in a lot of ways that way.
So I got to ask you, what are your largest market in the United States, and have you ventured off outside of the United States, and where? Yeah,
our largest market is probably either the Mid-Atlantic or like the Texas market. So when I say Mid-Atlantic, I mean like the New Jersey, Pennsylvania kind of area is very strong for us, and the Texas, we started here. We started trying, this is where James and Angela started. They live in Nicaragua full time, but this is where the company, we're all Texans. We didn't know each other before this venture, so I didn't know them anyway. And so we grew here, so we have a natural kind of a solid root base here. But we've been doing really well. We're growing by leaps and bounds in Florida. The West has been growing for us, especially places like Arizona. Believe it or not, most shops in Idaho, not everyone, but most shops in Idaho, for whatever reason, are now onto our stuff. The Midwest is growing. New England, we got a rock star rep. Well, all of our reps are really great. I'm really happy with our team. But New England's a different, animal as well in terms of the market dynamics. And we've got the best guy up there. I'm really excited about our new guy in the Southeast because I'm already seeing the roots he's laying down. So I'm hoping to see a lot of growth in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and the Carolinas.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And those some of the places that I frequent, especially in Alabama. I'm going to a cigar event this weekend in Birmingham, Alabama, and with the men of Distinction, and they throw a big bash each year.
Nice.
So I would love to see your, and that's the thing. I want to try to, from my point of view, like when we meet guys like you, I want to introduce those sticks to people that's not smoking. It's like, who are you? I'm with the Leaf and Ash podcast. Have you tried this? And that's my stick, meaning when I meet people, that's the conversation, to get the conversation flowing, to introduce people to new sticks and try to, educate them that is something else outside of what you used to smoke.
That's the way. And I'll tell you the other way, which is pretty obvious. You're already doing it. Man, people always say, hey, can you talk to this shop and see if they'll bring your stuff in? And I'll say, yeah, I'll try that, man. But guess what? I'm not the guy that rings that guy's register. I'm the guy that takes money from that guy when he buys my product. You guys, the consumers are the ones that, I don't know if y'all can hear me. I saw the little circle, but you guys are the ones that not only replenish what I took from him, but help him make a profit. So he's going to listen to you a hell of a lot more. He just looks at me as a salesman, which I am.
Right. Because
he wants to hear from the consumer. So I tell anybody who asks, I'll contact the store if you would like me to, but you got to go in there too and be leaning on.
Yeah. And I got a friend that owns another little place that I go to. Has an indoor outdoor. You can drink wine on the inside, smoke on the outdoor. Got the patios and everything. And I had a special kind of cigar which we've all smoked in our little group here. And I was like, yo, Randy, have you tried this? And I hadn't seen Randy in a few weeks. And, I went back. He was first thing he was looking for me. Hey, he was asking the other buddies, have you seen Paul? Have you seen PC? Whatever. It's like, hey, man, that stick you gave me was really good. So, and that's the thing. If I'm going to introduce it to him, it's got to be something of quality. And I think you have a real nice quality stick, and especially with it being a bold product, man. We love that.
Thank you.
So, and with that being said, I'm gonna turn it over to the Don and let Don, have a shot at you.
Hey.
Well, first of all, I love your answer of we have the boutique attitude. Even if we get to be, we have the boutique attitude, because I think that's something that we're all looking for. As far as we've spoken before about the boutique guys being the mad scientists, the guys that are trying something new, the guys that are you think about any of the new blends that are out that look, you get these big giant, I'm not gonna mention it, but they don't have to change because they have their fan base. They don't have to change. You guys are let's like I'm smoking right now the Hornet Lancero. I got it at the Great Smoke and I hope, I pray, whatever the word, I hope that's going to be a regular Vitola for you guys at some point. But
you got it in the pack. You bought the pack.
I did at the Great Smoke in South Florida. Yep. Oh my gosh!
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
It is. I'm sitting just like we've been on for 34 minutes. I'm almost all the way through this Lancero because I just can't put it down.
Hey, Derek, you got to understand, he's the chimney of the group. He is the chimney of the group.
He can smoke a Churchill.
Go ahead. Say it, JJ. Go ahead.
He can smoke a Churchill before we get a Robusto down.
It's thick. It's crazy.
Hey,
Dude,
blow that smoke, Don. Blow that smoke.
I love it.
listen, right? Listen, there. I get it. Because then guess what? He's got to light up another one. I understand. I get it. I get it, buddy. I get it.
If it's something that I love, if it's the flavor that I love, I can't put it down. I like the flavor. I like, I'm somebody who actually really enjoys the flavors of the cigar, and if I light a cigar and I don't like it, I'll put it down. Like, I feel like I smoke what I like, and there's certain brands, and I'm looking at my table right here. I have 10 of your cigars laid out here just because I love the brand. So how did Derek get into cigar smoking? What brought you to this deal?
I'm going to answer you, but I want to ask you a question first. Have you smoked the Connecticut out of that pack? Even if you're not normally a Connecticut guy, and I don't know if you are or not, you've yet to smoke the Connecticut?
I have not yet. No.
I like Connecticut. It's not my first go-to. That's a treat. You need to reach out to me whenever you smoke that and let me know, good, bad, or indifferent, what you thought of that. So my whole gig and how I got into this. What's that?
I said, I promise you, before we're done here, I'll light it up.
Chimney. I believe in the chimney, brick by brick.
Yes, sir.
So the way I got into it was I had a buddy that I went to school with in college. And I moved away from Texas for a while after school. I was gone for about 7 or 8 years. And I came back, and his wife had a family farm out somewhere. So we're sitting around a campfire, and he had a part-time gig at a cigar shop out of Dallas. And he says, "Hey, you want to smoke a cigar?" And up to that time, the only cigars I had smoked were gas stations, swishers and stuff like that. So he hands me this cigar, and I light it up. I'm like thinking, wow, this is really good. I burned through that, and I say, "Hey, man, not to be a mooch, can I have another one of those?" So he had a whole box of them. He's like, "Yeah, man." So he gives me another one, and when I finished that one, I said, "Man," I told him, "You work at this shop? How do I get a box of these?" He said, "You need to tap the brakes a little bit. It's a big world out there." And so I just dove in head first on watching shows like this, reading magazines, podcasts. I became, for a while, I was I won't say the de facto expert, but I got really well versed in converting, thermoelectric refrigerators into humidors because my collection was growing so rapidly, and I thought one would do it. I ended up with 2, and that was before I moved to the cabinet I have. So anyway, I was like really diving into all these different things. And one year we went to the Big Smoke in Vegas, and I happened to sit down next to a guy at one of the buffet tables that, lo and behold, he owns a cigar shop here in Temple, Texas. I never met the guy. So I started talking to him, and he was opening another shop about 30 miles north of us here. And I said, "Man, whatever you need, you don't even have to pay me. I'll help you hang shelves. I'll help you move inventory. I'll help you paint the walls. Whatever you need, I just want to be around it. I want to be around it and learn and get more experience to learn about this industry." Well, he hired me on. That's when I started studying for my certified retail tobacconist. I begged him for the first 3 years to take me to the trade show, and he wouldn't take me. And then on the 4th year, he finally took me. And I haven't missed a trade show since. So that is the shop that I was working in when Black Label came to be. And you pick up the story of what I was saying earlier, how I met James and Angela and Stephanie, and we developed an organic relationship, and things moved forward. And here we are, 12 years later since I met them. Yeah, that's kind of my cigar journey, man. That cigar, by the way, was a CAO Brasilia.
Ooh,
that's a banger. It's a good cigar.
This is back before they were bought out. It was still CAO was still their own thing back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We had Rick Rodriguez on our podcast, and he kind of told us that story in regards to his involvement with the CAOs and stuff like that. And ironically enough, the CAO blends that he had involvement in, we all seem to have gravitated to it.
And we didn't even know.
That Brazilian is unreal.
Great palate.
Oh,
Yeah.
So one of our listeners asked a question. I'm going to go ahead and ask it here. Are there any spots in the Los Angeles area that he can find your cigars?
And that we can find the cigars, yes. Off the top of my brain, Maximars in Orange County is good. V-Cut down on Melrose carries them. Assad up at, oh God, the name's slipping me now. But if he's in the LA area, he definitely knows who Assad is. He carries our stuff very well. Then if you go out the mountains a little bit, out towards Yucaipa, and Eric at Oak Glen Tobacconist, he's actually one of our top retailers in the country. He's killing it with our stuff, man. Yeah. So we have some good, solid, I won't say LA hardcore, but Orange County and kind of Southern California, we've got some solid accounts over there. And I would advise anybody, this gentleman or woman, whoever it is, our website is ovejanegracigars.com. And that's OVEJANEGRA cigars.com. If you go on there and you click, there's a retailer map, and you can look and see where our retailers are around you.
Yeah, I'm actually on that map right now.
Yeah. So Black South, Black South has followed us since day one. We absolutely love this guy. He's an LA guy. And we actually have nothing but love for this guy because you know what? He just like you guys, we kind of built somewhat of a following per se. We're still growing our group here, you know what I mean? But this guy has been loyal to us since day one, and we absolutely love him for it. And
he's honorary.
Yeah, exactly. He's like an ambassador for us, you know what I mean?
That's awesome. And that guy's shop, Assad, is MK Cigar Warehouse. I just remembered it.
There you go, Black.
There you go.
But that alone, you don't understand how impressive that is to me because you having to cover all 50 states for us to just throw a state at you and you're able to come down with. Listen, that alone, I'm telling you guys, that's impressive.
That's
because
impressive.
I can't imagine that Rolodex that goes in your brain because I can see you thinking you're like flipping through it, okay, West Coast.
Well, you develop relationships with these people, granted, my reps are the first level, like they're the ones that are in there doing it, but I see all the orders and I, see who's doing what and who's falling off and who's picking up. And so you talk to them, you get to know them, you see them at the trade show. And over the years, I think we're up over 500 retailers now. So
awesome.
I can't say I remember everybody's name, but I do respect the hell out of anybody that is willing to give us a shot, and I'm grateful for the chance.
Yes, sir.
So my first introduction to Black Label was an acquaintance of ours told me about the last rights, and so I went and got it, and I smoked the cigar, and I was like, holy cow, this is a good cigar. So so I have a cigar that I'm holding in my hand right here. I'm going to show you here in a second. I tried to find as much as I could about this cigar, and one of the tobacconists at the smoke ring here in Webster, Texas, gave it to me and said, "If you like Black Label, try this one." So it is.
I'll blow you up right here.
It is the Super Deluxe. I haven't tried it yet.
Super Deluxe.
So tell me about that cigar.
Was that my friend Tyler that turned you on to that?
It was Tyler.
Dude, that's impressive.
It was Tyler. Yep. It was Tyler.
He's a great guy. He actually, believe it or not, when I was working at that shop up here, he was a customer over there. I think, I may be mistaken, I don't want to put him in the wrong place, but I think he was a student at Baylor, and our shop was very, very close to Waco, and he used to come out there and hang out. Great guy. Yeah. The Super Deluxe was a limited edition cigar for us. We put it out for the first time in 2020. We did all of them in a box press. We did a Robusto at that time. 2020, we did the Lancero, Petite Corona, and the Robusto. This year, we took away the Lancero, which is one of my favorites because you don't see very many box press Lanceros. But we did a Toro, Petite Corona, and a Robusto. So that's a pretty bold cigar, one of my favorites. I like it, honestly. I do like it in all sizes. My favorite is in the Petite Corona. What size did you have there? Was that the Robusto?
I think I have it looks like the Toro.
That's probably the Toro, yeah.
Box press Toro, yep.
Yeah, no, we hadn't come out with that LE in 5 years. We brought it back January of this year.
Yeah, and I was over there a couple of weeks ago, and I had smoked one of the Lancero Killer Bees, and I was like, okay, I need to get more into this. What because at the time I didn't realize that Black Label and Blackworks were intertwined in the same company, So, and he said, man, if you like that, if you like the Killer Bee and you like that kind of bold, he turned me on this. I haven't smoked it yet. Now I don't know if I want to. If it's a limited edition, I don't know if I want to smoke it. But I'm one of those guys that I don't want to smoke the last one because it's if I can't get it again. But I definitely will.
Well, we kind of do something cool with our LEs in that, we tend to, some of them, we do, like the Bishop's Blend, we've done almost every single year. We're not going to do it this year, but we've done it every year since it came out in 2016 up through last year, and it'll come back again. We tend to come back to some LEs because we want to leave room to do new stuff like the Intergalactic Event Horizon. And, in order to do that, you got to put something to sleep for a while. Somebody's got to take a nap in order to make space. But that's why a project like this is so cool, because this is the boombox. And what it is a collection of all the limiteds we've ever done. You see the Blackworks here. All the LEs we've ever done in Blackworks. It's a collection set. So it's got the SNR, Intergalactic Event Horizon, Paper Crane, it's the Syndustry, the Boondock. So these are all in there. So it's a nice way. We're never going to make you suffer for too long. You might have to wait a little bit on a limited, but sooner or later things tend to come back around with us.
Golly, you're killing me, Derek, man. So all these posts that you see, these guys are throwing jabs at me.
Oh yeah,
because I might have a hoarding problem. I think I'm starting to accept this hoarding title. So these guys, they came to my house, and you understand. So I cleaned out my guest room, and I found like 7, 9 unwrapped boxes, that I even forgot about. Because I love buying boxes. I love just to store them, keep them away, just leave them alone. But it's kind of bad when you start lifting, mattresses, and you find like stuff that you had limited because you purposely hid it because you don't want to smoke them because they are limited. Except like that boombox. So being from New York, that's nostalgic. You know what I mean? Because I remember being, a break dancer.
Well, you got to get two, man. You got to get one to smoke and one to have.
See, but that's the problem. That's exactly what I do. That's exactly what I do. So. Before we move on, I don't know if Don has any more questions, but where can the people who are watching find you, Black Label, Blackworks, right now? On social media?
Everywhere. I mean, everywhere on that site. Check those retailers. The boombox right now is something we debuted at PCA. So we sold it to retailers that came to the PCA that wanted to buy in with us. And it's hitting shelves now. A lot of retailers have reached out on social media and let us know they've sold through theirs. I can't pick on any one person. I mentioned a few retailers earlier, but I can't sit here and list 500 names. But check out the website, what's near to you. And if you live in a place, like if you live in Montana, I don't think we have any Montana accounts. We always put a little icon or word, will ship. I think it's something like will ship or ships, or something like that. So we ask each retailer when we add them to our website, do you want to be known as a retailer who ships? Because you might have that person in Montana that can't get it where they are, and they can go to our site and see, okay, well, this guy, he ships. I'm going to call him. Do you have this? Do you have the boombox? Oh, cool. It says Black Label on their site says you ship. Are you doing that? Yeah, man. And then you can transact it and get what you need. So,
I assume your blender is the one. I think it's so cool that you guys kind of, I just lit up the connection.
Brick by brick, baby.
You got the darker tobacco at the top and the foot, and on the one I just smoked, you have the Candela on the top and the foot. I assume your blender is the one that kind of said, "Hey, here's a good idea. Let's try this." And on a closed foot cigar, JJ and I were talking about this before you came on, is that we were trying to get the dry draw on it, and it was tough to get the dry draw because it's closed foot, and then you light this thing up and you get that immediate gratification that and I'm not a huge Candela smoker, to be honest with you. I'm really I don't, it doesn't fit my palate a whole lot, but the mix of that with everything else, you get that first blast of smoke, and it's the wrapper flavor that you're tasting in that first group. Is that something that was intentional? I assume it was, but yeah.
Yeah, so Black Works for us is kind of the boutique within the boutique. I mean, we started the Black Label line first, and our company is called Black Label Trading Company, and that's the name of the line. When we opened the factory, our company was still Black Label Trading Company. We just started a second line called Black Works Studio. So it's one company with two lines. Mm-hmm. And so the Black Works Studio is going to be where you're going to see more of those, like you were saying, kind of artsy things on the wrappers, awkward, more your non-traditional shapes and sizes. Not to say there's not a few Robustos or whatever, but mostly within Black Works, that's where we keep the real nerdy stuff.
Yeah,
and so it's the boutique within the boutique is what we like to call it. And so, yeah, I think that's really where James, he's a very creative person. And so when he wants to do something that's a little funky or wacky, it's probably going to come out in the Black Works line. The thing, though, that I don't really have to lean too hard, but the thing that I have this beautiful set that we do at events. You may have seen it. If you don't, you can find it out. You can find pictures of it. It's called the Ambush. And that's a selection of 3 different Barber Pole cigars that we do that used to be factory exclusives. But they all have 3 different wrappers. One cigar has a majority of Candela with a little strip of Maduro and a little strip of Connecticut. Another cigar has the same 3, but another one is the majority and the other 2 are the strip, and the third one is the final combination.
Right.
And they all have names. But the point of that is when I open the box, like if you come to the thing, you'll see it on the table. I carry an open box with me because the box is beautiful, but we don't want to open a box just to show it and then people don't buy it. Now the retailer's got an open box and they don't know what to do with it. So I bring my own set to show people what's inside the box and they go, oh my God, these are stunning. And that's great, but I'm always having to make the statement, this isn't a visual gimmick. You need to smoke this. These are fantastic cigars. People. I think a lot of times people think they're trophies to look at. And it's like, enjoy it. That's that moth to the flame again. But we really believe that you're going to enjoy the smoke if you're a Black Label Black Works smoker.
In that case, a picture goes a long ways.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
I'll tell you another retailer here in the Houston area. They have a little satellite location down where I live, but cigar distributors in Texas. They push. When I walked in there, they pushed. That guy walked me straight over to that area, and that's where I first kind of learned of the Black Work Studio kind of line of their, from them. And my last thing that I'll say, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, and don't feel like I am, but if you need somebody in the Southwest, in the Midwest, there's a guy right down there in the bottom corner who he's doing some repping and he's killing it, and he's passionate about this industry, and we love him, and with that I'll pass the mic to JJ.
Man, well, I always keep a folder, JJ. I never know when opportunities are going to come up. And I always keep a list of names. So, I've had it to where somebody asked 3-4 years. I said, no, I don't have anything, but I'll keep your name. 3-4 years go by. I hired that guy. 4 years later.
All I'm going to say is, please write my name down.
Can I get just a second? I'm going to turn the light back on. It's getting a little dark in here.
Absolutely.
Y'all mind?
Yeah.
No. But as far as that Candela, man, after experience,
hey, what's going on? Yappity yap.
Yeah.
That's one of my coworkers.
And guys, while Derek takes a step away, look at that masterpiece in the background of his shot right there.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that masterpiece.
when I seen that,
83 Chevy S10.
That's it. Well, it's your show. I don't want to correct you.
No, I'm sorry. Correct me. What is it? Correct me. Go ahead. Go for it.
84 C10.
Oh, C10. Okay, I apologize.
No, okay. Hey, you didn't hurt my feelings.
I don't get offended. These guys get this. I got thick skin, buddy. Trust me.
Oh man,
I've been corrected and called different names, and I love them all.
Let it rip, JJ.
Hey, first of all, beautiful truck.
Thank you.
I had an 85 C10 when I was 18 years old. And, it didn't have the beauty rings, but it had some nice Kragers on it and a 383 stroker in it. Just too fast for me at that age, but I got rid of
like 2 weeks ago, right? When you were 18.
76 El Camino to get the truck. Yeah. Beautiful car.
Yeah.
First and foremost, thank you for keeping your word for being here. I met you and talked to you at the Great Smoke.
Yeah.
And I went through great lengths to get this poster you signed for me back home.
Did you manage to get it home without it bending?
Yes.
He did.
Good job.
And I'm smoking
his clothes didn't make it back home, but that poster made it.
Hey, I almost threw my boots out. I almost threw them skins out. I had the last rides for the first time. We all met in Tampa, and I fell in love from that point forward. Now the memento mori, that statement means a lot to me. I even have it tattooed on my arm.
Is that right?
With an hourglass and everything. Because up here it's got the flowers of life and everything as it gradually goes down with the hourglass. It's dead. It's a daily reminder that that's what's going to happen. So live for the day, live for the moment.
I want to speak on that. If I can.
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
So sometimes we get asked with our branding if we're obsessed with death or if we're Satanists or with all this kind of stuff. People don't look past. The answer is no. The answer is, we're very much about appreciating life today. We know it will come to an end sooner or later. So embrace what you have today, smoke what you have today, and, do your best to appreciate, love on the ones that you love and friend on the ones that you friend. Hopefully you love them too. But
absolutely,
the idea of memento mori speaks to that. James had a post today that just said scene 5, act 1, which is a reference to Hamlet about, there's a scene in there where it's talking about the mortality, the protagonist coming into touch with the fact that everybody's mortal, no matter how. Alexander the Great is mortal. Genghis Khan is mortal. We're all going to end up as dust. So do your best to enjoy your time, savor your time, and these are meant to help do that. And that's
absolutely
really what we're about with our cigars and our approach to all of this.
Yeah. So and that at this point, that's my big attachment with you guys is that, like I said, that saying means a lot to me. And and you as a national sales manager, what's the biggest hurdles you have to jump on a daily basis?
Oh man. My biggest, we talked earlier about having a 30-mile view or a 3-inch view. And sometimes the biggest hurdle is not getting caught up in too much 3-inch view stuff. It's important to deal with all those, the day-to-day operations and the things that need to be fixed and addressed and changed and altered and developed. But really, my main, where I would like my focus to be is how to move the brand forward, how to not lose what it is we're doing by maintaining our customer relationships, not only with our retailers, but with the consumers. I know a ton of consumers at this point too. And they, I met you two guys at the show, and it's about doing this again, kind of, forming that up a little more and keeping the bond there because, believe it or not, it's a little cliche, but this is one of the few, we talked earlier about, maybe before we were on camera or before we were live, but about how it's a business that, one of the few where you can get different people from different walks of life to come together. But the other thing about it is this is a place where you're going to see everybody sort of hopefully being appreciative of their time and building those relationships and investing our energy into each other, not just the money, but our energy into each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's really, I mean, national sales manager is the title. It's what we came up with when I came on 9 years ago. But the reality is I see myself as kind of an operations manager. So that has to do with customer accounts, that has to do with consumer relations, that has to do with working with our factory, Angela and James down there to tell them what's going on. We just debuted new Toros in the Black Label line because we didn't have them in 3 sizes. We kept getting asked for them. So these are things, this is what the customer base is asking for. So let's give them what they want. So I don't know. I'm pretty blessed in that there is stress in the job for sure, but I don't really get wrapped around the axle with it. And I don't look at my job as like, oh man, this is so hard. It's more about like, okay, what can I get into today?
Okay.
It's not fun. There's aspects, if you want to know the ugly, muddy stuff, I don't know, people not paying their bills sucks, and dealing with that. Trying to chase money down really sucks. But and then people that just don't, when you're doing things right. There's one guy, I'm not going to name him. I'm not even going to say where he is, but he just has it in for us, man. And I can never figure out why. I tried to talk to him about it. I don't know if he doesn't like our branding. I don't know if we remind him of his high school bully. I don't know what the deal is. And so that for a while that used to bother me. But as I'm getting older, you kind of learn that's not savoring my time. Putting my energy into that is not savoring my time. So I don't do that anymore.
No, hell no.
That's some of the stuff that can be a challenge sometimes.
And I'm a rep for Big Sky. And while I was there, I was introduced to HDA cigars.
Oh yeah.
And they're made by the Oveja factory, and I'm letting the cigars set, because they've been all over to give it the best shot, best chance. But you can look at them and they're visually they're stunning cigars. I mean, you can tell, your factory down there, and everything I've smoked from you, I've never had a plug. This thing is burning beautifully. I mean,
thank you.
The attention to detail and just your guys' quality in general is what, speaks volumes for not only like I said, your branding's badass, but, your construction and just overall quality is what sticks out in our mind the most, because that's what we look at the most. Yeah, we buy with our eyes, but, if it's a plug cigar, a bad taste, or, you have to relight it 15 times. But I know in my time smoking your guys' lines, they've always been a beautiful experience, and I'm very thankful you guys are a thing.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's I'm smoking, like I said, your Killer Bee. I had your Hornet the other night, and these things they're the exclusive. They're just badass. I mean, very flavorful.
Dude, when you get a chance, pick up the Hornet in we put it out. We started making it in the Corona Larga about 2 years ago. And I love the Robusto too, which was the original size, but we expanded it to that Corona Larga. And I find it to be, it's one of my go-tos now. Like it's just regularly, I probably smoke at least 3 of those a week in my rotation.
Oh,
So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here. do you think those Lanceros will be a staple in the line, or is that going to be kind of like you got to find us at the show to do that?
I got 2 things to say to you, Don. The first is I love a Lancero too, but Lanceros in the market really just
we've heard that, yes.
Well, overall, no matter, it's tough, guys on the show, but I'm just messing around, but they really don't sell too incredibly great, and it's hard to put that much effort into something that doesn't perform sales wise as well as you would want it to. Toro's the best selling size in the country, so so that's one reason. The second reason that you won't see it like that is we need to keep some things that are awesome for things like what you came to and like I'm going to go to later this year in Colorado. And, you know, we want to have stuff that people are looking for, have had it before, but can only get it in this place to drive them. I mean, it's the same kind of concept with having a PCA exclusive. You know, we want people to come to PCA and to support the PCA. I mean, PCA is doing a great job. They're, you know, do they have some faults? Certainly you'll find all kinds of people that have different criticisms, but, you know, that's our fighter in the ring, and we need him to win. So we want to support him, you know. So we want to do things that drive business. You know, we're never going to make a lot of money on those little packs like that, but it's more about get out to Rocky Mountain. Rocky Mountain is owned by, you know, Smoker Friendly. Go support the Smoker Friendly stores, and they do buy my products where I can make a little bit of change. And so, you know, it's really about the long-term picture. So that's you asked me what time it was. I told you how to build a watch, but no, you're not going to see in regular production.
Well, and in my opinion, I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Lanceros, but that's been some of my best smokes.
Yeah,
I mean, out of certain brands, you get more flavor out of it. You know,
it's the best ratio between wrapper, binder, and filler.
And maybe just maybe people are a little intimidated by smoking a long, thin cigar. You know, so but you get the best smoke out of it for me. You know, I love it.
Yeah, I love
Lancero. I love Lanceros, and this is me as a consumer talking now, right? I think that you could argue the fact that people they want more bang for their buck, right? Once again, it's visual, right? Mm-hmm. If I look at a Gordo and I look at a Lancero, for whatever reason, psychologically, I'm gonna go to the Gordo. But as an enthusiast, I know I am gonna get more bang for my buck on that Lancero.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I know I'm gonna have more flavor, more spice, more. But once again, not everyone is a true so-called enthusiast, right? Because people are, like I said, they're visual shoppers and they want to get that more bang for their buck at that. And that's my assumption, anyways. Right.
But I look at it like this. When we smoke cigars, it's not something that, especially if you're looking for quiet time, peace of mind, and you're in one of those processes where you need to think something through, that Lancero will provide you that time that you're looking for to kind of figure out whatever issue you're dealing with. I mean, cigars in generally, they do that. But, you know, I found with that flavor, that taste, that those notes that you get out of those sticks, you can solve, world hunger with that
stick. You know what?
I think when they made the decision to take the red food dye out of these foods this week, somebody must have been smoking a Lancero.
Yeah. No more red 40.
That's right.
Man.
So
I can tell, from the heart, and I can speak for all four of us. You definitely have some big fans here.
Thank you.
And as long as you guys keep doing what you're doing, we're definitely going to keep you in our humidors, because we're all hoarders. I got an 800 count on the bottom and a 280 on the top. It's disgusting. But
first step is I want to be in your humidor, but I want to be in your rotation. We're gonna make more.
Yeah, most definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I do have a question. It's an educational question. If you had to introduce a new smoker to your stick, which one of your sticks would you give a new smoker? Because we know that you have a bowl line of cigars. So what would you give a new smoker that you don't want to turn them off? So what's that go-to stick?
I'd probably start with our porcelain in our Black Label line. It's a Connecticut wrap. It's a medium body. In Black Label and Black Works, we don't really make anything that's mild. We start off at medium and kind of go up. But in our core line Black Label, in our core line Black Label, we've painted our three most mild cigars, which are medium sticks, with white boxes. So our porcelain comes like that. Our Santa Muerte comes like that, and our Royalty comes like that. So with the Royalty, you're using a Corojo wrapper on that. You get a really nice kind of floral note, especially if you do the retrohale passing through the nose. But I think I will say, the Lawless is an interesting cigar. James and I used to talk about this, not an argument, but sort of like a bounce back. The go-to answer for a new cigar smoker, people tend to say go Connecticut, and that's not necessarily a bad answer. It's like if you're going to start drinking beer, you're probably starting out with light beer, right? But It doesn't necessarily mean it's the right answer. A Yingling might be a really great place for a new beer drinker to start. So for that reason, we feel like the Lawless is a really nice entry point too. If someone doesn't really like that kind of crisp sensation that you get off of a Connecticut, a Lawless would be another one. And that is in a black box, but it's no butt kicker. It's a medium going into full, but it's very approachable. I would say either one of those two. And if they want something with a little more spice to it, I would say maybe the Killer Bee Connecticut, which is what Don's got up there. But although we won't be having it for these new people in a Lancero, but we make it a little petite Corona.
And myself, since I know this is an LE or a convention only cigar, I'm only going to smoke one of each and just put the other three up for a rainy day. But I'm only going to smoke
Colorado.
That's on my bucket list, man. That is definitely one festival I want to go to.
It's a great festival.
We talked about going this year. It didn't work out for us this year.
Right.
And I think they're sold out now.
Yeah. I just, to me, like, I got 3 more years to retire. You know what I mean? So my bucket list is definitely, that's one of them. And not only that, I want to go start visiting factories, which I don't know, JJ, if you finish your questions before I ask this question, because I'm pretty sure you guys know where I'm going with this.
No, go ahead, bro. You're good.
No. Do you guys have factory tours?
Absolutely. On that website, if you hit that same thing where across the top where it says retailers and stuff, I think there's a button up there that says factory. And if you hit that, it'll drop down and give you the whole kind of the layout, maybe kind of an outline of what we do with our factory tours. And I'll say this, I've been on different factory tours before I was with the company, and they do a great job. But ours is different ours is different, not because tobacco leaf here isn't a tobacco leaf there. No, it's different because the experience, we let you be in town. And some people the first time going to a foreign country can be a little anxious about that. Esteli is a very peaceful town. They don't want any more war. They had plenty of that in the 80s. But it's safe to walk around. You stay at a hotel in town. We take you to local restaurants. They have the rooftop deck for the night smoking. We bring you to the factory. Our factory is very different than a lot of factories. A lot of factories are like a gallery that's like a rectangle with pairs of tables just going down, and that's very efficient. Ours is more like kind of an art studio. James wanted to create it as a creative place, a place where he would be inspired. His artwork is all over the walls. It's all over the table fronts. The lounge is very much decorated from their experiences from their world travels before being in the business. So, and then getting the time with James and Angela, I don't know that, maybe there's one person out there that heard this that would say that, would disagree with me, but I can't imagine who that would be. They're great hosts. So they really let you, you really feel like you get to know the makers. So yeah, that's, again, I told you how to build a clock. Yes, we have factory tours.
Now, do you guys have like limits that you do per tour? Because I know some factories only allow like maybe 30 or 20 or 50, depending obviously on the factory.
Yeah, I think we cap it at I think we cap it at about 12 people. They're very small because we want to keep them intimate, and they only do a couple a year. So, the hard part is a lot of people get excited and say they want to go, but when it comes time to pull the trigger, they don't know if they can, they fill up pretty fast. And then they don't know if they can, they're usually in January, February, and March because that's the growing season. And we want to take people when that all is going on. We don't want to do it during the rainy season. We don't want to do it when it's super hot. So the growing season is the best time to go. And but they don't know if they can get off work. Like it's what is it, April right now, and people are already talking about their 2026 trip. Can they go or not? So yeah, it can be I won't say difficult, but it can be a challenge to commit to going and doing it. But if you want to go bad enough, you'll make it happen.
I agree 100%. I mean, it is definitely on my bucket list. Ruben, hey fellas, this is great. Ruben, what's going on, Ruben?
So I got to ask you. So if you go on those tours and you buy cigars, how easy is it to get those sticks back into the States, or what's the process of getting those sticks?
I think the limit's 200 cigars you can bring back into the U.S. So they don't care. And people, I mean, I'm not encouraging breaking our customs laws or anything like that. But you know, people have brought back more. Just it's kind of like gambling. Don't take more than you can afford to part with over 200.
Right.
You know, and the way we do it is you get to make your cigar down there, and we give you 10 of those to take home with you. And then, you know, you have cigars while you're there, but it's not a grab and go. We're pretty we lay out a tray and we ask you to be a gentleman or a gentlewoman and take one cigar and smoke it. And if you want it, you know, you can keep smoking as long as you want, but don't grab a handful of them. We don't like that.
Right.
That's offensive to us. Just
course.
flat out. But then we also have things that we sell exclusively at the factory, and that's how those ambush started. But now we've developed other cigars that are exclusive to factory tours. So it's another incentive for people to come and get something, and they can buy those at the factory and bring them back.
Okay.
And how long is the tour? Meaning, how many days? Is it like a 2-day event?
I think it's 3 nights, 4 days.
Okay. Do you guys? And I know I'm asking a bunch of questions here now.
That's what I'm here for, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys work with a particular, like maybe travel agency that you guys specifically work with that everyone could just go to and make things a lot easier for those who want to go and travel? Because, like I said, you have 4 individuals right now that are 4 different states. You know, does it make
it's AngelaBrown.com. No, I'm just kidding. It is Angela. She's the one that receives the emails and helps you set up your, coming to the factory. She's the one you pay and will tell you the schedule and the layout. But the part that's on you is getting your flight from wherever you are down to Managua, whatever that looks like. Because, you know, we're not, you know, to your point, we're not travel agents. And, you know, a guy coming to visit us from Canada is going to be different from a woman coming from Houston. There's direct flights from Houston to Miami right to Managua, 3 hours, two and a half from Miami. But, you know, so that's on you. But then there's the set cost to do the factory tour. And we provide your transportation. You know, we pick you up at the airport. The meals are paid for. Your cigars while you're there, obviously, are paid for. Any cigars you want to buy to bring back home, factory exclusive, that's what you decide to purchase out of your own wallet. So the hotel, the lodging, the food, and the transportation is all covered as part of your expense to come down.
There you go.
Plus whatever you have to do on your own for airfare.
That's perfect. Okay. What I'll do is once we get off, I'll try to get that information. You say all that could be found on the website, or? Yeah, on the website. Okay, perfect. And I kind of want to put a link, you know, with our stuff in regards to it. But I kind of want to go back to now into a couple of more questions. If you have a moment, you still have time. Perfect. So you as the international, I'm there with you. Don, on the other hand, is probably on his 3rd stick. But
I'm still on that first Lancero.
No, I'm still on the first one. Come on now, stop. So where do you foresee, or where would you like to see Black Label in the next 5 years?
There's some accounts that we feel like, you know, we see ourselves, we're not new anymore. We're not legacy brands either. There's a lot of shops that are carrying brands that we feel like we are playing in the same, you know, field. So shops that are more ones that have 3-4 stores, that's kind of the next evolution for us. The next step in our evolution is to be in shops that are a little more focused on. We don't want to look. I was going to say we don't want to just be in giant shops, but I got to tell you, there's some giant shops that do great with our stuff. So It's hard. I'm not going to sit here, and a lot of people want to beat up on those guys. I don't beat up on them at all, man. They get behind the brand. They ask me for the artwork. They want me to come do trainings with their staff. They get behind the brand. They pay their bills on time, and So for us, it's more just about growing into places like. Sometimes I'll see different retailer or different companies, and they may be in a bunch of different shops, and I'll look. They'll say where this new product's going on. I'll look at it, and I'll be like, "We're there, we're not there. We're there, we're not there, we're not there, we're there." And I'm like, "Why aren't we in these stores?" So I tell the reps, like, "Hey, every year at the sales meeting, I'm like, I need you to identify 10 shops this year you think are important in your territory you think Black Label belongs on those shelves. Not that we just want to get on a shelf. Again, I don't want to be in a spaghetti store.
Right.
I want to be in a store that will get behind the brand. So I ask these guys, you know your territory best. So that's kind of the next iteration for us is plugging in the holes and the gaps where we're not.
Right. And you know where I'm at right here, like I have to go to Oklahoma City to get you guys. I'm in the far northeast corner. But I know a couple, whoever your Oklahoma rep is, I do know a couple good places in Tulsa and even up in Missouri, because I'm right in the very middle of Missouri, Kansas, and all Arkansas.
Yeah, we've got some great shops in that. Just for Him is over there in I think Kansas or Missouri, and Omerta does really well with us. Second Street does really well with us. Somebody from Tulsa just reached out to us today, and I just put our rep on it, 2 hours ago before we got on this call. I told him to reach out to this guy. So, it's always a constant evolution, like I said before, trying to – the cigar business, you really do fight and claw for every inch. And it's not enough just to get in. You have to maintain once you get in.
Something that comes to my mind.
Make it to the majors. That's great. Making it to the major leagues, but you got to hit well enough to stay.
Right.
Something that comes to my mind is we had Dave Garofalo from Two Guys in the Cigar Authority on a while back, and he was talking about boutique or lesser known brands and he said just what you said. Talking about the spaghetti store, that you have to have a tobacconist that says, if you like X, try this cigar, and they have to be knowledgeable enough to their customers and their palates and all that kind of stuff. Like, if you like X cigar, you're gonna like the Killer Bee. Try this cigar out for me, and that's a guy that's gonna come back and like you said, he might buy one or two at that point, and if he likes it, he's gonna come back and buy 5 or 6, and if he really likes it, he's gonna come back and buy a box.
Well, guys like Dave doing what he's done as long as he's done it, they're legends, and they're great because they understand that anybody can hire a clerk to ring a cigar to register, especially if it's got a UPC sticker on it. But knowing and that's why guys like Tyler over at the Smoke Ring are so great, because they know the products, they know where to steer you, what to try, what to put you on, what to get you to add to your rotation, And again, part of that is grooming. Our reps go out. I can't tell you how good of a job our reps go out. They've taken so many young people and really invested their time and energy into them, where these guys are like, man,
do we lose them?
Oh. I want to study this.
Oh, and we got a bad connection.
Sorry, I don't know if that's.
Yeah, Derek, we kind of lost you there for a second, bud. Oh.
That's me.
I do have a few more questions.
I'll tell you what. I'll get closer to my router.
No,
Derek, we appreciate you.
There we go.
So here's my question now, and this is, and not to get too political, and you probably know where I'm about to go with this in regards to, I know you guys just came from the PCA, and I know that there had to have been people just bombarding, everybody out there to try to get these prices before, if possible, if not, with now that it's been extended to 90 days in regards to the tariffs, how do you foresee you guys handling it if it does come to sight, if it comes forward?
We gotta. I mean, it's a straightforward question. It's a straightforward answer. We're not using it as a profit center, but we gotta. If the tariff goes up, we gotta do 10% right now.
Right. And that's the whole thing, right? Because, and I appreciate it because, we've obviously, if you're in Nicaragua, now, did they drop the percentage in Nicaragua? Because I know Nicaragua was at 18%, correct?
So what happened was, on the day it was announced, it was stated that if shipments that come in starting the following Monday would be ding at 10%, and by 2 days later on Wednesday would be at 18%. And then I think last week or a week and a half ago, it was said anybody who's not named China, I think, and maybe Mexico and Canada, I'm not sure, but the countries like the ones that affect us, for now, for the next 90 days, are 10%. So right now, we did go through the trade show saying we're going to honor our pre-tariff pricing, but we're going to have to bump it on the next shipment up not because we want to, but because we're getting hit with that tariff.
Absolutely. And that's respect. And you know what? We all understand as consumers, right? We all get it. You know what I mean? We all know it trickles down, right? And it trickles down to the consumers at the very bottom per se. To me, I'm hoping that things stay status quo. You know what I mean? And the one thing, and I don't know if you see it this way, I think individuals and companies like yourselves have a leg up per se that people probably be willing to go and try you guys now, because of the price point.
Yeah.
Because I honestly think that your price point is spot on. And mind you, I'm in South Florida, and everyone knows that in South Florida it's all about status, and people kind of tend to go a little crazy out here with pricing, But I think your price point, that even if the tariffs did go into effect, that people like myself will have zero problems paying that extra, whatever it is, for your product. I mean, to me, how do you foresee, down the road? Because obviously every state has their own state tax and their own tobacco tax, which is completely, it's a monster, especially certain states. I mean, certain states hit you hard. With these tobacco taxes, which to me, it baffles me. And Europe is a whole different beast, especially like England. I'm not 50 yet, Ruben. I turn 50 next month. I know. You know what? I posted that, and I kicked myself in the butt for posting. I turned 50, Derek, May 19th. I'm having my birthday on the 17th of May.
Nice,
big milestone. But to me, I absolutely love where you guys are at. Like I said, I think you guys have a really damn good thing going for you, man, because your marketing's on point. I think the way you guys are able to gravitate consumers like myself that absolutely love the artwork and love the bands, and then you're able to match the hype of the band. You know what I mean? Right. Because there's nothing worse than I see a beautiful cigar that has all the characteristics that I absolutely love. The dark wrapper, the beautiful band. You do the little smell test after you purchase it. Don't smell the cigar before you buy it. But anyway, then you're paying like $15, $16, $18, and it's a freaking dud. That's the worst. Yeah. I think you guys have hit the nail on the head in every aspect, man. You got a true fan in me and my compadres here. And I can't wait to see what the next 5 years bring to Black Works and Black Label, man. I really mean that sincerely, man.
Thank you.
I just bought this hat. So
thank you. Thank you. Well, I'll say this, man. Respectfully, I agree with you. I don't like that the tariffs are happening, but I feel the same way, and I know my team members do as well, that yes, this sucks, but we're priced competitively so that it shouldn't make somebody that might normally pick up our cigar not pick up our cigar. That's probably not going to happen, at least to a serious cigar smoker. And I don't mean a hardcore, but I mean like a cigar smoker is not going to balk at our price, or shouldn't balk at our price, even with the new tariff.
and
especially when compared to what's on the market at different pricing.
Correct.
And we've been talking about the boutique cigars for a while now. I mean, for really a long while, almost a little over 2 years, if you know. And we think it's a pathway for any boutique company to actually, put themselves in a right position to, with proper marketing, to put their sticks in some of the major stores that they're looking to put them in. So
Yeah.
we really think this is a good thing. The tariffs are a good thing for those companies and whatnot. So hopefully you guys continue to market, because that's my opinion, that the marketing is going to be the key to those boutique cigars, competing even more with some of the legacy. Not to wipe anybody out, but just get name recognition,
Yeah, no, I appreciate the comment about that, because I tend to share that theory with you, And I got to say, PC, out of the other three guys on here, I especially appreciate you doing it, because I think out of the four of you, I think you're getting hit hardest by Georgia. I think y'all are at 23%, if I'm not mistaken. Which when you compare to New York and California and some other places, isn't that bad. But compared to Texas and Florida and Oklahoma, I think you've got it the toughest out of the four.
Right. And that goes back to what I was saying early on, when we had this conversation, we did a whole show on it, that, if you're being selective and put some thought into your purchase power, you can get whatever you want as much as you want, but you gotta be selective about it. And that's the way I see it.
Yeah. And the way you said you're competitively priced, but like I said, with your consistency and your quality, these are cigars I'd be willing to pay much more for if I had to, because they're at their price point, but they smoke way higher than their price point, in my opinion. And I'm sure theirs as well. Like I said, you gotta, as long as you guys keep doing what you're doing, you got a fan right here.
Thank you. We're going to keep doing it.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are definitely,
if we don't do it, we don't eat. So,
and we appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Burn One, The Godfather. Before we get to that, stay tuned just a little bit, Derek. We're going to roll this beautiful bean footage from one of our sponsors, Burn One.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What's going on, guys? This is your boy Panda, and your boy Panda has some great news. We have teamed up with Burn One Cigar Bar, located at 7328 Royal Palm Boulevard in Margate, Florida. Guys, Burn One Cigar Bar is your go-to destination for the finest selections of premium cigars at unbeatable prices. Step into a world of luxury and relaxation as you indulge in the smooth flavors and exquisite aromas of our carefully curated cigars collection. But that's not all. Burn One Cigar Bar has teamed up with us for an exclusive sponsorship opportunity just for you. When you call Burn One and purchase any box of cigars, you unlock a fantastic discount of 20% of your order using special discount code PANDA. You can contact Burn One at 954-970-0001 or on their social media pages, Facebook and or Instagram. Guys, don't miss this chance to elevate your cigar experience without breaking the bank. Visit Burn One Cigar Bar today. Mention discount code PANDA and treat yourself to premium cigars at incredible value. Hurry up, this offer won't last. Burn One Cigar Bar, where luxury meets affordability. And they ship nationwide. Peace.
Well, guys, I'm back. I'm just joining it was AI Derek that whole time. Did he do okay, guys?
Oh, that's hilarious.
I don't know if I trust him.
Yeah. So Derek, that's my home lounge here in South Florida. That's where I'll be having my 50th. Guy, honestly, Derek, we greatly appreciate your time. And you know what? I mean, I honestly can't wait. I truly mean this. I can't wait to see what other adventures you guys go to, what other endeavors you guys go to, because you definitely got to bring us along, because definitely have no issues, zero qualms promoting, supporting, and I definitely want to get one of those boom boxes, man.
Most definitely.
Like I said,
Get
I'm gonna
out there
talk
and
to
get
you. I have zero issues, but the thing is this: I have no issues purchasing it, but I need you to sign it. That's all I ask.
I can do that.
Okay, that's all I'm saying.
I can do that. We got you're going to be excited then because we've got some really great stuff planned for this year. You know, we map out pretty far ahead. We've got some really cool and interesting projects for 2025. So keep your eyes open.
Oh heck yeah!
You know,
listen,
we'd love to have
hopefully
you on
when
again.
I'm sorry, and hopefully when you do have all those new adventures, we're able to reach out to you and you can help us out, and we'll be more than happy to help you guys promote. Not as if you need our help, but we'll be there to help and support you guys, man. I mean, truly, like I said, you definitely got a supporters here and fan base here.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I love the format of this. It's been great talking to you guys. Thank you for having me on.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
I also
All
want
right,
to
fellas.
all right, Derek. Have yourself a good one. But before you leave, I also want to give thanks to The Godfather, thegodfather.com. If you use promotion code the Leaf and Ash Podcast, they have beautiful cigar accessories. Use the Leaf and Ash Podcast, you get an additional 15% off. All right. And until then, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.